Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, Tasmanian parents are being placed on lengthy waiting lists as the struggle to find adequate childcare is laid bare. Many facilities are bearing the brunt of a national worker shortage, with stagnant wage growth forcing hundreds out of the job.
Giving up one of their only days off, these childcare workers feel overworked and undervalued.
When there's celebrations of, local heroes, the early childhood sector often gets left off those lists.
Getting young ones into care is the hardest it's ever been.
We have had families been asking us to build an extra room for a number of years now. We're in a small regional community.
As waiting lists balloon out and worker vacancies grow, the issues dominated conversation at Early Childhood Australia's forum in Hobart.
A few years ago, we had about 3,500 job vacancies nationally for early childhood educators and teachers. Now that number is 6,000.
Putting up immediate solutions.
We need a one-off substantial increase to wages to early childhood teachers and educators just to hold the people we have in the sector at the moment.
Experts pointing to the impact educators have on crucial developmental years.
Particularly the first 1,000 days is critical for establishing very, very early on in life appropriate eating and activity behaviours.
This Berrydale childcare facility is one of 2 Tasmanian centres being forced to cut operating hours down to just 4 days a week due to ongoing battles to attract and retain staff.
It's not uncommon for services to be missing a third or quarter of their staff team any given day.
Meanwhile, the Premier used his annual state conference to spruik expanding a free early learning initiative directed at eligible 3-year-olds, with plans to see the Working Together program rolled out in Tasmania's child and family learning spaces by 2024.
Education is a fundamental human right. This is the right thing to do, and I'm determined to deliver on it.
As the challenges facing this female-dominated industry hit hard.
One of those ongoing things that I don't know that gap's going to close anytime soon.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Young people were the talking point at this year's Liberal Party State Council conference at Devonport. Nearly 50 pieces of policy, including a nuclear submarine base, were debated by members.
Looking to improve the outcomes of young Tasmanians. That was the focus of the Liberal Party State Conference.
Our generation's duty right now is to work with what we have, make more prudent and difficult decisions to ensure that we have a better future for future generations.
The Premier championing the government's change to expand high school to Year 12, describing the measure as pushing Tasmanian education into the modern era.
We must continue to make change in education and give Tasmanians the best chance at living a better and more rewarding life.
Strengthening regional areas also on the agenda, with the state government intending to establish regional strategic partnerships. The Liberals say it will focus on expanding businesses, growing industry and developing the region in line with their needs.
2/3 of Australians say that they will pay more for anything Tasmanian. They believe rightly that what we can offer in produce and advanced manufacturing and technology and the arts is uniquely different.
The afternoon spent debating and passing motions supporting various state and federal issues. Party members voting unanimously to advocate for a nuclear submarine port in Hobart, citing Tasmania's isolation and shipbuilding capabilities as key drivers. Meanwhile, no opposition was raised for a motion supporting bans on transgender athletes competing in single-sex sporting events. Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton was not present at this morning's proceedings. Mark ZITA, 7 Tasmania News.
CCTV has captured a man Tasmania Police are seeking the identity of. It comes in relation to a breach of privacy incident at Devonport's Reading Cinema last night. Anyone who was at the business at around 9 o'clock and can provide additional information is being urged to come forward to Crime Stoppers. Now we have some breaking news. Police have closed Circle Street at New Norfolk due to a structure fire. It's understood a cafe is one of the buildings alight, with 2 others possibly involved. Roadblocks will be in place and officers have asked people to avoid the area until further notice. A man is in the Royal Hobart Hospital's ICU with suspected internal injuries after a serious single vehicle crash last night. The incident occurred on Grass Tree Hill just before 9 p.m. Police say the red Toyota Ute appeared to have crossed to the wrong side of the road and hit a tree. The sole occupant of the vehicle was trapped for some time before being extracted by the TFS. A cause is yet to be determined. Just days after the High Court refused an application to appeal her conviction, Sue Neal-Fraser has applied for parole. Today marks a 68-year-old's minimum jail sentence after serving 13 years for the murder of her partner. The Parole Board of Tasmania will now conduct a hearing to determine whether Neal-Fraser could soon be a free woman. 2 SUVs have been involved in a series of ram raids across the northwest, with police estimating the damage bill to be in excess of $300,000. An East Devonport news agency is one of the businesses left reeling from the damage as police search for those responsible.
For the owners of this East Devonport news agency, waking up to a ram raid was not welcome news.
We all work very hard to serve the community, and the community's been very supportive, but to come in and see what's happened today has been very disappointing.
In the early hours of this morning, a car reversed into the entrance of the news agency in an attempt to steal cigarettes. The front entrance of the business left unrecognisable, with no opportunity to capitalise on the Saturday morning rush.
Yeah, just to see your hard work just all crumbled in the doorways, terrible.
Police say the East Devonport incident was a part of a series of ram raids across the northwest early this morning. Owners at the Deloraine news agency also left to clean up the mess where cash and jewellery were stolen. More cigarettes stolen from a sassafras service station. In total, police estimate over $300,000 in damages and stolen goods.
Small business owners are devastated when their premises especially are ram raided. That's a lot of damage. They can't open straight away.
Officers say 2 Mercedes SUVs were stolen at a Newtown property, with police looking for 4 people. Anyone with information, CCTV or dashcam vision is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Mark ZITA, 7 Tasmanian News.
And Tasmania has had a total of 175 deaths after a woman in her late 70s passed away overnight. Just over 300 new cases were recorded. 18 people are being treated specifically for the virus in hospital. 3 are in the ICU. Typically fighting life-threatening infernos, today they're fighting unfair pay and staff shortages. Tasmanian firefighters walking off the job for the first time after the government claimed the union dismissed pay negotiations.
What do we want?
Fair pay.
When do we want it?
Now.
Fact is the government were the ones that walked away from the table. Our members are extremely angry and frustrated that government ministers are out there attempting to mislead the public.
The union says its workers encounter a $10,000 pay difference compared to other states and will continue to strike if action isn't taken. A new site being proposed for the Northwest Harness and Greyhound track is in motion. The state government says the preferred location is on 27 hectares of private land opposite Devonport Airport. The government will contribute $8 million to the proposal. Tas Racing plans to use the existing design for the previously announced site at Palmers Road. National Science Week is going out with a bang as Tasmanian children spent the day in an experimental wonderland. 50 exhibitors rolling in for the Bright Ideas Festival to teach young minds the ins and outs of the STEM sector.
Tasmania's next generation of scientists dabbling in the weird, the wacky and the wonderful.
I definitely think it's going to be a very fun day. It's amazing.
From robot rings to scientific experiments through to a smog cannon and circus entertainment, there was something for all ages.
I did the Tassie Devil Trap. It was really cool and fun.
The interactive Bright Ideas Festival, back for its 7th year, introducing young minds to the world of STEM.
This is a really feel-good festival. It's a really lovely community, the science community, and so willing and excited to share their science with people.
So nice to see so many kids having a good time, extending their imaginations and finding out about science.
A $20,000 events grant bringing in a broad scope of experts.
What we've done is brought some of the krill we have in our research aquarium down here to Phoebe so that people can meet such a fundamentally important animal that is actually a really vivacious and interesting creature that most people would never get the opportunity to see.
With around 3,600 attendees here today, the Bright Ideas Festival has been a roaring success, and with all but one exhibit here completely local, it's no wonder Tasmania has the highest percentage of scientists in Australia. And though the festival wraps up today, the next batch of entertainment isn't far off, with an Antarctic exhibition docking in on Wednesday. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian homeowners who sold up before a significant jump in interest rates have cashed in. A new PropTrack report revealed many made the move before property prices began to fall. West Hobart, Sandy Bay and Howrah were among the suburbs where sellers made the biggest profit from March to July this year. A clothes market is hoping to divert pre-loved fashion from landfill. The behind closed drawers market gave keen shoppers a chance to refresh their wardrobe at a fraction of the cost. Research shows Australia is the second largest consumer of textiles behind the US, with the average Aussie buying 27 kilos every year. First to football, the final home and away game for the State League season wasn't enough for Glenorchy to fire up against North Launceston as the club was dealt another belting. But at North Hobart, things were a little more lively, the Blues impressing on the road, securing a 43-point win against the Demons. Meanwhile, at Twin Ovals, tensions flared when the Tigers came face-to-face with the Southern Bombers, seeing players lock heads at quarter time. After a strongly contested match from both sides, Lauderdale was the one to keep the momentum going, securing the crucial win and, more importantly, a spot in the finals. It's the start of football finals in local leagues across the state, with Wynyard defeating Penguin by 47 points in the North West Football League's qualifying final. Meanwhile, in the NTFA, reigning Premier Bracknell fell to Rocherlea 8-5-63 to 10-12-78. The Redlegs won both the regular season matchups against the Tigers. Rocherlea will now face Longford next week. In the Southern Football League, Dodgers Ferry defeated Sorrel 83 points to 61 at Shark Park, while the Huonville Lions were too good for Cygnet 97 to 61. And to soccer, Devonport has stitched up the NPL title in the men's league, taking out Launceston City 2-0. It was a gruelling match, Launceston chasing Devonport's tail with 9 minutes to go before the Strikers swooped in to score their second goal. Devonport also granting no mercy against Launceston United in the Women's Super League, smashing the side 3-0 and finding the back of the net in the first 12 seconds of the game. The upset boosts Devonport into second place on the ladder, just 2 points behind Launceston.
Good evening. 13 was the state's top today across Launceston, Burnie and Devonport, Hobart reaching 10. 12 across Lowhead and St Helens, Strawn 11 and 10 about Grove and Bushy Park. On the close-up, patchy low-level cloud is seen moving over the state from the south. Further out, a cloud band moves over far southwestern WA, while patchy low-level cloud lies over the whole southern coast of Australia. Tomorrow, a high-pressure system sits over South Australia and extends over most of the country. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow reaching 10 to 20 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and up to 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current across the southwest lakes, far northwest coast, central north coast, Bank Strait, Franklin Sound, Flinders Island and the east coast. A gale warning for the south and central west coast as well. And flood warnings are current for the North Esk, South Esk, Macquarie and Meander rivers. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart partly cloudy, 12 in Richmond, frost and a possible shower in Ooze. In the north, Launceston a shower or two, Devonport 13 and Deloraine showers are increasing. Burnie and Strawn tomorrow, showers increasing, 13 in Curry. Partly cloudy and 12 across St Helens and Swansea, Whitemark 13. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now: Monday, rain about the north and west, extending statewide during the morning. Tuesday, showers about the west, south and central areas. And Wednesday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Capital cities, partly cloudy and 20 in Perth tomorrow. Melbourne 15 and mostly sunny in Sydney. And currently Hobart 6 and mostly clear, Launceston 7 and Devonport 9 and mostly clear. That's all in weather tonight, Tom.
Thank you very much for that, Jackie. And that's all from us this Saturday evening. Thanks so much, as always, for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow night. For now, though, we're off to the MCG for the Bombers and the Tigers. Good night.